Welcome to Unit 2, Lesson 12, Polynomial Division Part 1. So let's learn a way to divide polynomials. Due to length considerations, this video will be broken down into two parts, Part A and Part B, so we don't get confused with Polynomial Division Part 2. I only have 15 minutes to do on these videos, and I'll split this after problem 12.2. Okay, now everything that says point 1 is a warm-up. So the most important thing here we had to realize is notice and wonder. Look at it, notice something, ask a question. What do we notice? Well, the first two boxes are done. The last box is not done. So I wonder, what could we do? How do we do that one? Why is the last one done and the first one and the first two done and the last one is not? What do these numbers mean? How do they relate to each other? Okay, so now the whole point of this lesson today here is x minus 2 a factor of this polynomial? We don't know. So if x minus 2 multiplies to another number, remember on the left, these are called factors. Factors multiply to each other to make a product. A factor times a factor, or factors times a factor, makes a product. So let's see. We have to ask ourselves, what times x makes x cubed? X squared times x makes x cubed. Then you got to multiply here and there. X squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. Now, we have to ask ourselves, we got the x cubed part taken care of. We have to ask ourselves, what number makes negative 1x squared? What added to negative 2? Positive 1x. 1x times x is x squared. 1x times negative 2 is negative 2x because we add on diagonals. And then our next number is negative 4. What plus negative 2 gives us negative 4. Or I'm sorry, not plus, what times? So negative 2, if I put a negative 2 here, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. So x, 1x squared minus 2x squared is negative 1x squared. Negative 2x minus 2x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x, I'm sorry. Same signs add and different signs subtract. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So we get our original polynomial, x cubed minus 1x squared minus 4x plus 4. So if we get our same polynomial, x minus 2 is a factor, and here the answer, x squared plus 1x minus 2, is our other factor. Okay, now let's look at the next problem, factoring with diagrams. Priya wants to sketch a graph of a polynomial defined by this. She knows f of 1 is 0, so she suspects that x minus 1 could be a factor. How does she know? Because it equals 0, so that tells us that when x equals 1, the y value is 0. So you have to set it equal to 0, x minus 1, to get a factor, to change an intercept into a factor. When you see this notation, this lets you know that 1 is a factor. So now we got x and minus 1. We have to multiply to get back to the original. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 1 is negative 1x squared. Now, what adds to negative 1 to make positive 5? So let's try 5x. 5 times x is 5x squared 5 minus 1 is 4, so that doesn't work. So we got to go higher. So we'll go to 6x. 6x times x is 6x squared. 6x times negative 1 is negative 6x. That adds to make 5x squared. There's nothing like x cubed. Okay, next one. Two x. What adds to 6x to make positive 2x? Let's try 8. 8 times 8 is 8x. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. You add on the diagonals. 8 minus 6 is 2x plus 2 plus 5 minus 8, x cubed. We match our original polynomial. So x minus 1 is a factor. X squared plus 6x plus 8 is our other factor. Okay. So x squared, so x minus 1 is a factor. X squared plus 6x plus 8 is the other factor. Okay, now we had to write these as the product of 3 linear factors. X squared plus 6x plus 8. Now we got to break down this trinomial into a linear factor. So what you do is you list all the factors of 8, 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. You add them and you subtract them. And which one makes the middle term? 6. So that tells me 2 plus 4 is 6. So to break this down, I get x minus 1, x plus 2, x plus 4. So now we got 3 linear factors. What's a linear factor? The exponent is to the first power. Now, to go from factors to intercepts, we switch the sign. So we got positive 1, negative 2, and negative 4. I think that was positive x cubed. So it's going to look something like this. It's going to look something like that.